Hey, what is up, everybody? I am here to give you my Spongebob Squarepants review, and this is Season 2, Episode 4. It's called Bossy Boots, and it came out on October 26, 2000. Um, and this episode was pretty good. Not a lot to talk about here, but this was a pretty good episode. So the episode kicks right off at the Krusty Krab. We see SpongeBob, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, and Mr. Krabs sends them into his office. And he tells them that he has some big news. And SpongeBob's like, yay, the new spatulas are here. He's all pumped about that. He thinks the new spatulas are here. And Mr. Krabs like, sit down, boy, there's no new spatulas. And he's all disappointed about it. And Squidward, like, sarcastically says, and what a disappointment. I thought that was cool. And he tells them about his daughter, Pearl. Who we've seen in a couple of episodes. I think this is the first time we've seen it this season. I'm not really sure, though. And he says that she's growing up fast, and it says it feels like it was just yesterday that I was teaching her to bridge, and he has this picture of him teaching her how to bridge. It's like him and her in a photo. And he says that during her summer vacation, she's pretty much going to be working at the Krusty Krab. And, Mr. Krabs, Pearl like arrives. She says, "I'm here," or something. And Mr. Krabs goes to see her, and then Squidward and SpongeBob. Squidward's like, "SpongeBob, do you know what this means?" And SpongeBob says, "No new spatulas." And he's like, "No." And he says that some teenager's going to be coming to boss them around, and we said that he can't let that happen. We're going to let her. Because pretty much she's the boss's daughter, so they don't want to be bossed around by the boss's daughter. So they're going to do whatever they can to protect their, what did he say? Like embarrassing jobs or something. And then SpongeBob's like, okie dokie, Squidward. And then we'll get those new spatulas. And SpongeBob was really obsessed about those new spatulas. I thought that was funny. And then they go out there, and Mr. Krabs says, "Alright, guys, say hello to me, Pearl." And he's like pointing at a pole, and SpongeBob says, "Hello, pole." I thought that was pretty funny. And Pearl says hi. And Mr. Krabs is all excited that she's gonna be in the family business. And Pearl says that I have so many great ideas that's gonna bring the Krusty Krab to new heights. And Mr. Krabs like, I can smell the money already, which he's happy about because he likes money. Then he walks off, and she's holding a box. And SpongeBob asks what's in it, and she says it's a surprise. Close your eyes. And she puts SpongeBob in the box, and Squidward says, "Well, I like it so far." And then when he comes out, they're in a she's in like a uniform. He's in like a uniform with KK like on the top, and it's like a uniform filled with flowers and stuff like that. It was like a girl uniform. And SpongeBob looks in the mirror, and Squidward says, "Okay, SpongeBob. Okay, this is it, SpongeBob. Now tell her what you really think of that new uniform." And then he says, "Okay." And he says that this is the greatest uniform ever. I mean, he did what he said, but I guess he wasn't expecting. Squidward's even like fish paste, which that's what I assume means. He's really thinking shit. And Pearl's happy that he likes it. And Squidward's like, "Well, SpongeBob, I didn't think it was possible, but you look even more ridiculous than usual." And Pearl's like, Don't be upset, Squidward. I made one for you too." And then Squidward's like, don't be silly. I didn't get in that." And Mr. Krabs is wearing it, and he says that these are the greatest, and he likes the uniform as well. And because Squidward's like only a fool with that, and then Mr. Krabs pops out. Then Mr. Krabs sees Squidward isn't wearing it, and he's like, "Get that suit on. It's already been paid for." So then it cuts to like Squidward wearing the suit, and the KK goes on his eyes, and Squidward's like rage, fury, irritation, humiliation, which I thought was pretty funny. He was like pissed about it, and Pearl's like, "Squidward is such a barnacle," and SpongeBob's like a stick in the sand, and Pearl likes SpongeBob though, and she says that with her fashion sense and his sponginess, they can turn the Krusty Krab into to the greatest thing, um, to the next hip thing. Um, because when it shows it, it's like all dusty. There's like a skeleton sitting down on in the chairs in a chair. And SpongeBob does say, "Well, I have been trying to get Mr. Krabs to make some changes around here." And he has a drawing of him. He has a drawing of him, Squidward, and Mr. Krabs, and they're all holding hands, and they all have mustaches. I don't know what SpongeBob was fantasizing there. So then, so then the next scene, Pearl asks SpongeBob, "What do you like better, the Kooky Crab or the just some weird restaurant names?" And Squidward's like, so, and Squidward asks him why she's mentioning these names, and Pearl says, "Our new name for a new look." Because she's like, the Krusty Krab's gotta go. Who wants to eat at a place that they think is crusty? And then Squidward says, "Sure, it's a table name, but this is a terrible place. Therefore, the name should be left alone." I thought that was a good line. And SpongeBob and he's like, "Right, SpongeBob," and SpongeBob's coming up with names. He comes up with some like the curly crab, the cool crab, the cowboy crab, all that stuff. Even though the cowboy crab is like with a C, so I didn't get that. So he goes through all that. The candy crab, and one of them that SpongeBob says is the creepy crab, the killer crab. And when SpongeBob would say this stuff, it would actually show him, like if it was the cowboy crab, it would show him dressed up like a cowboy, creepy. He was like holding a brain. The killer crab, he was like dressed up like I guess like an animal would kill him. And Pearl's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, like too scary." So then they come up with the name, the curly crab. So then it's the Krusty Krab's dressed all girly. The cuddly crab, actually. Yeah, the cuddly crab. I don't know why I said the cuddly crab. And the signs, says cuddly crab. And Pearl and SpongeBob are all happy. Squidward's pissed. He's shaking the sign. And some customers come up and they just think Mr. Krabs sold the Krusty Krab. So they ask Squidward where they can get something to eat. And Squidward just quits. He tears off his uniform. And then the officer comes up and puts a ticket on his dick. I thought that was pretty funny. And then that shows inside, and inside the Krusty Krab's all girly. The cuddly crab. It has like bunnies, just all types of cuddly stuff that you would think. And one of the people says, "Finally, a cool place when teens can just, hang out." So then SpongeBob's like ashamed of Squidward that he quit because he can't keep up with the times. So then SpongeBob goes back to cook, and he compliments Pearl by calling her by saying that she's a true visionary. And then SpongeBob then in the kitchen says a cheesy line. "The customers may be hot, but my grill is hotter." That was pretty cheesy. And he gets an order, and it's 2 salads, but he calls them salads because I guess he's never heard of a salad before. And he's even like, "I don't what." And he's like, "Never heard of it." Then he's like, "Okay, I gotta stay hip because I don't want to end up like Squidward." But he's like, "What the hell is a salad?" So he just makes a Krabby Patty, and he shows it to Pearl, and Pearl's like, "Those aren't salads. Remove, the buns, the patties, and the condiments." And then SpongeBob's like, "But that just leaves lettuce and tomato." And then she's like, "Exactly." And then he's like, "Okay." So then he does it, and he's all heartbroken about it. He hands it to them. He's all depressed. He says that was awful. He hopes he never has to tear up a perfectly good Krabby Patty ever again. And then the grill's gone because Pearl thinks that fried foods are OUT out. And SpongeBob's like, right on. She takes his spatula away and says, "I got something more fun for you to do anyway." And he has to dress up like a crab. I think it's supposed to be Mr. Krabs though. And he has to wave to people. And one of the guys driving by says, "Hey buddy, do you need a ride? I was just on my way to the big Doofus convention." Making fun of him. And SpongeBob's like, "You can take away my spatula. You can take away my... But when you take away my dignity... I'm a fry cooked on it, and you can take away my spatula. But when you take away my dignity, that's when I get mad. And then he says, I'm going to go right to Mr. Krabs' office to tell him what the suit wants. And he's trying to walk, but the suit doesn't let him walk, so he ends up falling over. And he's going to knock on Mr. Krabs' door. And I guess he's afraid because he's pretty much going to be trashing his daughter. So when he comes in, Mr. Krabs' office is all girly too. And he has a lot of this stuff that costs money. A stress thing that he can squeeze. A chair that SpongeBob sits in, and as he keeps sitting in it, he keeps sinking into the chair where you can't even see SpongeBob anymore. So then SpongeBob randomly just blurts out, Mr. Krabs, Pearl is ruining the Krusty Krab. And Mr. Krabs says, well, Pearl is saving the Krusty Krab. I mean, the cuddly crab. And he goes off like these plants. There was these lights that cost like $30. There's seahorse thing that you hunt, and he's like, it's hip, it's cool, and he's like, it's losing money because they're not making any money too. Because earlier in the episode, she had the new menu item, and salads are $2 and tea is $7. And SpongeBob was pretty pissed about that too. And that's when she took a spatula away. I forgot to mention that part. But so Mr. Krabs is upset about it, and he realizes he's gonna have to fire her, but he doesn't want to do that. So SpongeBob's like, there, Mr. Krabs, I'm sure there's another way. He's like, that's it. You could fire her. And then SpongeBob's like, but that's not what I said. And he's like, okay, so it's all settled. You fire Pearl. I'll hate. I don't know if he says wait or hate. I'll wait in my office. And then he pushes SpongeBob. So SpongeBob just got completely thrown on the bus kind of right there. So Mr. Krabs pushes SpongeBob right into Pearl, and Pearl's like, totally rude, SpongeBob. So then SpongeBob's like, can I see you in the kitchen for a second? And SpongeBob's thinking to himself, how am I going to break into her? I've never had to fire anyone before. Because firing someone isn't an easy thing. I've never actually had to do it. But I can imagine, because you're pretty much, you have to cause somebody to not have a job and stuff like that. I can imagine firing somebody isn't the easiest thing in the world. It's a pretty difficult thing. So then when he's about to say it, though, Hill starts crying, saying that she just can't take it anymore because she never really wanted to work here. She's been trying to get fired since day one. And she's like, this job's cut in major. What did she say? This job's cut in... This is pretty much saying that this job's getting in the way of a social life, which was what a job's supposed to do. So then SpongeBob says that he could pretend to fire her, and it'll take the heat from Mr. Krabs later. And SpongeBob and Pearl's like, Pearl's happy that she's doing this, and she starts hugging him. He's like, how can I ever repay you? And you can hear when she hugs him, you can hear SpongeBob's bones getting crushed. I thought that was pretty cool. And SpongeBob's like, stop trying to break me in half. And she's like, deal. And obviously she really is getting fired. But I guess Pearl thinks she's really quitting. I don't know why she doesn't just quit, but okay. So then SpongeBob does it, and as this is happening, Mr. Krabs is all heartbroken about it. He's like, I gotta do something. He's like, I can't let him do this. But then he sees that the safe is all empty because it has a spider web in it with a spider. And he's like, get on with this, SpongeBob. So then when he does it, he has a heart attack. And Pearl's all happy, so then she goes to the mall with her friends. And SpongeBob sees that Mr. Krabs is passed out. I don't know if he fainted. He had a heart attack, but he fainted, I think. And he has like this emergency thing where it has money in it, and he waves it in Mr. Krabs' face, then wakes him up. And he's like, is that the 20? So he puts it in his pocket. And he's like, why do we have to do such a tough thing to my own flesh and blood? And then Mr. SpongeBob says, oh, it's okay. She took it pretty well. She's off to bigger and better things. And Mr. Krabs is like, that's me, girl. Tough as nails like an old man, even though he was just like whining about the fact that he was about to fire his daughter. And Mr. Krabs is like, but how am I going to get my money back with all this stuff? So then it's at SpongeBob's house. And I guess he's going to get it back because it cost SpongeBob 1 year's salary. SpongeBob's pretty much going to be working for free. And then that was the end of the episode. And he's telling Gary about it, and Gary's like buried in it. And that was the end of the episode. Overall, a good episode. I don't think it was great, but it was good. And really wasn't a lot to talk about, but it was a good episode. It flowed pretty well all the way through. And you could totally tell that Pearl was trying to get fired after she says it because it makes sense. So I thought overall it was a good episode. I'm not gonna really trash it because it was good. But that's pretty much it, guys. And yeah, you can subscribe to my channel down below. And I'm gonna start these new card things I've heard about on YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna start these new card things I've done on YouTube, and you can click like right there to subscribe to my CM Brothers channel where I talk about other things like Death Note and Good Luck Charlie. And that's about it. And talk to you later.